him.
I want to watch the news.
Are you making headway at least?
This is the news.
Schmack-a-magab, everybody, it's time for the only news that matters on Kiss Wednesday. And Kiss's non-makeup era is often relegated to persona non grata status, at least for the original lineup diehards. But things were different for Kiss fans growing up without Ace Frehley, as they only knew Bruce Kulick. Of course, before Kulick there was Vinnie Vincent, who some fans, like myself, say he saved Kiss. And then there was star-crossed shredder Mark St. John, who Kulick replaced. But the truth is that despite Frehley's iconic foundational licks and Vincent's cult following, without Kulick holding down the fort as the lead guitarist of Kiss's most bombastic band between 1984 and 1996, Kiss wouldn't have had a house to bring down, therefore, let alone a non-makeup era to forsake. When I came into Kiss, Bruce said, I wasn't asked to imitate Ace. And you know they made Tommy do that. I'm very thankful for that because it allowed me the freedom to be myself. If I was asked to do what Ace did, I'm not sure things would have worked. And that's a good thing, as after Kulick joined in 1984, Kiss experienced success with records like Asylum and Crazy Nights and Hot in the Shade. But for purists, none of that mattered. I agree, except for Asylum, that album rules. There are misconceptions about 80s Kiss, Bruce said. The biggest of which is that we sucked. Old fans maybe didn't get it, but the fans who grew up seeing Kiss without makeup knew how good we were. Certain years of my era were magical. I stand by the 80s. We were a cut above. Cut above. You were following trends, man. Even though I love Asylum, you were following trends. Anyway, he says, you're always in the winning circle when you have two leaders like Paul Stanley of Kiss with Gene Simmons. The 80s might have been alright for Kiss, but the problematic era was ahead in the early 90s as drummer Eric Carr died of heart cancer in 1991. Meanwhile, music was changing, hair metal was out, grunge was in, leaving Kiss, a band of men in their 40s, to stare their musical mortality in the face. And that led to producer Bob Ezrin being called in for Kiss's 90s opener, Revenge, which Kulick has long championed. He said, we put so much into Revenge, but it wasn't received well as by the time Nirvana had hit. And Kiss hit the road in support of Revenge in April 1992, but kick-ass songs and a killer vibe couldn't save a tour that was doomed from the start. He said, we toured the arenas, they were half empty. Paul and Gene were frustrated. We didn't know the future. I could tell there was hesitation from the top down. Same old guard bands folded, while others rode grunge out, but not Kiss. They embraced their grungier side, which Gene Simmons loved, and Paul Stanley of Kiss hated, leading to the 1995 sessions for Carnival of Souls, which came out in 97. But all wasn't well, and while on break, Stanley and Simmons pulled the ripcord by inviting Kiss founders Ace Frehley and Peter Criss on stage for the infamous taping of MTV Unplugged. That might have seemed like an innocent gathering of old friends, but Kulick knew better. He said the lack of attention to Carnival of Souls made sense. Paul and Gene were preparing to put together the reunion, which took a lot of legwork. You know, the legwork manifested as Stanley Simmons, Freely, Chris reunion, and the 1996-97 Alive Worldwide Tour, leading to Kulick and Singer, well, being gone. At first the reunion worked, bringing riches to the Kiss kingdom, until the wheels came off, leading to Freely quitting in 2022 and Chris being fired in 2004, while Black and Blue guitarist turned Kiss tour manager Tommy Thayer and once jilted, now re-welcome drummer Eric Singer became the fake Frehley and the copycat Cheater Chris. And Kiss cashed in for another 20 years with Thayer and Singer. It is what it is. I hate that saying. And really, who can blame them? You know? You gotta, as Paul Stanley said on Animalize, get what you can take. Shitty song. But there's some sadness associated with Kulick, who despite the importance of Kiss, wasn't mentioned during Kiss's final December 2023 show in New York City at Madison Square Garden. You know, let alone invited. Then again, all of Kiss's former members were, you know, ignored. So once again, it is what it is. But Kulick, once of the underappreciated guitarists of any era, doesn't care. He said, I've made peace with not being included in Kiss's End of the Road. That said, no, they never called me. I've always missed being in Kiss, but if being in Kiss meant being the spaceman like Tommy, I wouldn't want to do it. And if being part of the final shows meant I had to ask to be there, I'd rather stay home. I guess that's why Ace respects me and has always been kind to me. As for how he views himself within the canon of history, Kulick smiles, saying, I was never asked to clone Ace Frehley. I'm very proud of that. I made those songs my own. I am proud of my era. It was real and not just about the money. Real? It was real? It came to a screeching halt. The power of the reunion killed everything. It died. It was over. I had to move on. As to where Kulick goes from here, not being asked on stage for Kiss' final show, he said, I was not expecting it to happen. I know to read between the lines when I heard the press and interviews with Doc McGee. You know, did they miss an opportunity to share the importance of the past? In my opinion, yes. History was ignored. The present and future was what the final show at MSG was about. I kept hearing that it was a disappointment from the fans, but only hurt was knowing New York City was ground zero with the most passionate Kiss fans, and I loved experiencing their excitement in person. So me not being invited to celebrate with them was unfortunate for me personally. Nothing has been planned with Gene or Eric. What could happen? I am curious as a fan. I know I will be doing many creative projects such as a new album and perhaps an autobiography, special events and performances that will focus on my legacy. It's a very exciting time for me. When in Kiss, I was never fired. I was left behind for a widely successful commercial venture. You don't have to be an accountant to understand Paul and Gene. All right. He says he wasn't fired. Yes, he was. Him and Eric were both fired. And then, I think though they had either 6 months or a year that Kiss paid them. They were still, you know, getting their paychecks for Kiss. But, yeah, man, I mean, when you do an album like Revenge, now mind you, I am not a fan of Revenge. But it was a return of form. And I do admit, Bruce Kulick to me is a VIP on that album. His guitar playing is awesome on Revenge. But the songs, man, Unholy's great, and Thou Shalt Not's okay, and Heart of Chrome. But the rest, ugh. But Most people love it. Most people think it's the greatest non-makeup Kiss album. I happen to think it's Lick It Up and then Asylum, which Bruce was part of. But yeah, and also the part where Bruce says, I wouldn't want to be Ace. I recall an interview with Bruce back in the day when Tommy was first Ace Fake Frehley. Bruce said in an interview, he didn't actually say he'd do it, but he didn't say he wouldn't either. He was just talking about, man, it would be weird if I did it, but he didn't actually say he wouldn't. But you know, Kiss is done. Kiss is over. He doesn't have to kiss Gene and Paul's ass anymore. So hopefully when he does write a book, he like starts bashing on them, you know, because many reasons to. But, you know, Bruce also owes his career to Gene and Paul because, come on, what did he do before that? Blackjack and Meatloaf, where he was just a background musician. Kiss made Bruce Kulick who Bruce Kulick is today. And very loved, by the way. He's very loved by the fans. I met him. He was a nice guy. I'm not saying he's a dick. But, yeah, Bruce Kulick. I love Union. I think that's the best thing he did after Kiss. Those two Union albums. I love them both, man. I actually like the second one a little bit more. The Blue Room. I highly recommend both those albums. Good stuff, man. But in the end of the day, this is only my opinion. I do not share the opinion of people that say Bruce was their best guitarist, or, you know, or Vinnie Vincent was their best guitarist, or Tommy Thayer, whatever. Ace Frehley was their best guitarist, and I'll tell you why. Technically, Ace Frehley, and I'm going to tell you why I think that. I'm not telling any of you to think this. But in my opinion, Ace Frehley was the one that wrote these solos that were song within songs. He had a special gift. He wasn't technically as good as Bruce Kulick or Vinnie Vincent, but when it came to writing songs, he eclipsed them both. You know, I mean, Vinnie Vincent can write some great songs, but he really never did a solo as memorable as, you know, Shock Me or, you know, Strange Ways and stuff like that. Ace will always be the greatest Kiss guitarist. And Bruce should be happy they didn't ask him to play like Ace. How they did to Tommy Thayer. You know, that's fucked up. Not only you have to dress like Ace, but you also have to play like Ace. And when we give you a guitar solo live, you got to play part of Kiss Alive's Ace Frehley's guitar solo. That's some sad shit, man. I got to tell you. But whatever. People ate it up. People liked it. You know, even though the final shows in Madison Square Garden were not sold out. I mean, how fucked up is that? They didn't sell out their final shows. And yeah, I have a news report coming up in a few weeks about the final show, the weird things about the final show. That I'll talk about it then. And this is a very long Bruce Kulick interview, so in future news reports, I'll actually add some more Bruce Kulick news with this interview. It's a really good interview he gave Guitar World. So anyway, thank you all for watching The Only News That Matters. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and ring that little notification bell. And hey, if you are subscribed to my channel, make sure you're still subscribed, because people are getting unsubscribed for no reason over and over again, and it sucks. So if you subscribe, please keep checking to see if you're still subscribed. And leave your comments below about Bruce Kulick, Ace Frehley, Vinnie Vincent, Mark St. John, and your mom. Leave it all there. And like the video. It's good for the YouTube algorithms. So stay frosty. Listen to Black Sabbath and smack 'em a gob. Bruce was fired.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain. For we've received orders for to sail back to Boston. And so never more shall we see you again.